because y'all know what it is.
TNN Trap News Network.
I was with Rich Trapper.
I flex with you. What's the deal, y'all? What's the deal, y'all? What's the deal, y'all? Rich Trapper tapping in, TNN Trap News Network. Back in this thing, back in this thing. It's like cracking this thing here at TNN Trap News Network. It's that good news you can use. It's that good knowledge-ito you're not finna get in nobody's college-ito. Make sure you hit that notification bell at the top. Hit all. Stay tapped in for the latest and the greatest. Hit that like, hit that hype, hit that comment, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that share button for everything we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. Make sure you tap in. Leave a comment because we're going back to the chili giveaway. So when we get to 31,000 subscribers, we're going to make sure that we pick the best comment between now and 31,000 subscribers. We're going to give you some chili, big dog. So it's important that you comment. It's important that you comment. It's important that you comment. Once we get 31,000 subscribers, we're going to make sure that we let y'all know an exact date and exact time that we will be doing a live to give away that money. You got Cash App, you got Apple Pay, you got Zelle, you got Venmo. Don't worry about it. We're going to make sure you get that chili. Make sure you hit that like button, that comment, that good subscribe button. TNN Trap News Network. We taking it back to the basics, man. Hey, man, we jumping back into this content, man. My man Byron Blake with some more news we can use, some more knowledge you're not going to get in nobody's college. Let's get into this content. Let's go.
Like, this would be a good opportunity to double back on something that we spoke about in Big U's case and how Big U's case provides the perfect example of how the feds not only cover up for their witnesses to avoid them being exposed as cooperators or snitches, but also how far they are willing to go to make sure that these guys are comfortable enough to do the job that they need them to do, regardless of what the crime is that they may be in custody or charged for.
My bad, my neighbor's dog.
I got a flashback I want to play for y'all. Check this out. Wack and his minions took to Clubhouse. I assume that they were trying to beat me to putting out the paperwork so they could control the narrative, but they actually did what people do when they talk too much, and it's exposed themselves. Wack exposed himself tremendously in this clip that I'm about to run for y'all, and I'm gonna chime back in with some paperwork, but yeah, we ain't gonna waste no time.
What's up, Wack? See your boy telling, huh? You. See, that's what we talking about up here. That nigga lied snitching like a mother. So, Wack, first of all, Molly Mall don't even know Dale. I ain't never met this nigga day in his life. So for that nigga to say Molly Mall got rid of the video because he was hiding his criminal activity with Dale Morrison. Molly Mall was already convicted at the time of the murder.
Right. Now, before we get too deep into this, I gotta address this lie. Wack is saying that these two guys don't know each other and Big U is snitching. But listen to this. This is Big U's argument. The government's narrative regarding the missing surveillance footage is a calculated inversion of the facts. While the prosecution attempts to pin the disappearance of evidence on
Hey, man, have a good day.
Mr. Henley, the timeline reveals a far more sinister and coordinated effort between Witness 1 and Witness 2. In January 2021, Witness 1, who was then an employee of Witness 2, was recently entangled in the criminal justice system following his October 2020 arrest for solicitation of a prostitute. This arrest appears similar to the conduct for which Witness 2 now faces federal scrutiny. The jury is entitled to consider that Witness 1 and Witness 2 were not mere bystanders, but partners in a panicked cover-up of their sex offenses that were captured on video surveillance during the night of the murder. Now, Big U is basically saying, hey, the government is trying to say that I destroyed this video footage because I was trying to cover up a murder. But in reality, the owners of the camera destroyed the video footage because they were trying to cover up the fact that they were still involved in a specific type of crime that they had already been charged and convicted of being involved in. So while awaiting sentencing and looking for a lenient sentence, had the police come in investigating this murder case and found footage of this, then it probably would have led to more charges or a steeper sentence. That's what Big U is arguing. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Wack was mentioning Big Dale and all of that stuff. It says witness one. Now,
it clearly says in the paperwork that the two dudes knew each other. So whatever, again, Wack is trying to make up, he's just trying to cover his own ass, because by now we know that Wack is working with the federal government, and that paperwork's going to be out soon.
victim one, those are two different people. And this is where this will get clarified at, because Big U actually addresses victim one in this. And I think that Wack saw these two, these dudes, they kind of just skim over the documents. They don't really read. So he saw victim one mentioned and witness one and witness two, and just kind of meshed everything together. But in reality,
because Wack knows that he's one of the victims and he's one of the witnesses, but that's two different stories, two different situations off the same case. But let's stick with what we know right now is Wack being victim one.
these are separate people. Now, I'm going to direct your attention to what Big U is arguing in this same document with regard to Big Dale. Now, in the first part of this document, Big U says, regarding witness 2, the government argues that the unresolved alleged facts violating supervised release are inadmissible. Basically saying the stuff in his violation report cannot be brought in as evidence. Big U says, however, by coordinating 4 separate continuances of the supervised release hearing for witness 2, pushing the hearing date from a date originally set before trial in this case to June 12, 2026, the government and witness 2 have ensured he remains under a looming sense of loyalty to the government that incentivizes self-serving testimony while technically still remaining unadjudicated for impeachment purposes. So Big U is saying, hey, y'all saying this is inadmissible because it's unresolved, but it's unresolved because y'all are intentionally pushing the dates back to make sure that it's unresolved before my trial happens.
Because if it gets resolved before the trial happens, then they got to figure out how they going to replay this witness, how they going to reuse this witness. Right now, somebody's testimony, person one committed a crime. Person one get picked up by the police. Person one tell the police, hey, y'all bump me down, I cooperate on Big U. Well, they tell the person one, you got to cooperate first and then we'll bump you down. So person one who has been picked up for this crime years ago has yet to be charged for this crime because they want to see what's going to happen with the Big U situation. If person one don't cooperate, they're not going to get that time knocked down. So that's why the person one is being able to maneuver the way person one's being able to maneuver. But let's keep going.
So that you can make sure that it's not brought up in trial. And this goes back to what I was telling y'all in the beginning of this video. This highlights the methods that the government will use to protect a government witness and to shield a government witness from scrutiny during their testimony. Now, Big U is attempting and planning to argue that these guys are testifying in exchange for leniency. But I want to direct your attention to Molly Mall's plea agreement. Molly Mall does not have a cooperation plea agreement. He did not sign a plea agreement that makes him eligible for a 5K1 or Rule 35. There's no mention of it, that the government anticipates filing one, none of that. It says nothing about a Rule 35 or a 5. So for all of y'all guys who always get in my comments and say, if it don't say nothing about a Rule 35 or a 5K1, you can't say he a snitch. That's entirely not true. That's entirely not true. In fact, we see here the government is now taking advantage of and exploiting different ways to get cooperation out of people without putting that in the paperwork. Because if they put that in the paperwork, then people know you are a cooperator and they can pressure you. They can do all different types of stuff. And that may limit your ability or alter your desire to cooperate and testify. Now, when it comes to Big Deal, Big U is arguing that the government...
So it seems like, understandably so, the government is going above and beyond to protect their witnesses, which will make 100% sense because if somebody's a cooperating informant, it seems like you would want to do everything you could to make sure that they are, you know what I'm saying, safe and able to perform at their highest ability.
Notes that victim 1 is currently detained awaiting sentencing for his conspiracy to distribute controlled substances in 2021 and his guilty plea to money laundering in 2025. However, it notes that the undersigned prosecutors are not involved in that criminal prosecution. He says the government's attempt to distance itself from victim 1's potential for leniency is an institutional fiction that ignores the results of bias under Davis versus Alaska. Whether or not these specific prosecutors are assigned to his other felony matter, victim 1 remains currently detained awaiting sentencing and is unquestioned.
Did you say Davis versus Alaska? Wait, this nigga got a case against
Alaska? It may limit your ability or alter your desire to cooperate and testify. Now, when it comes to Big Deal, Big U is arguing that the government notes that victim 1 is currently detained awaiting sentencing for his conspiracy to distribute controlled substances in 2021 and his guilty plea to money laundering in 2025. However, it notes that the undersigned prosecutors are not involved in that criminal prosecution. He says the government's attempt to distance itself from victim 1's potential for leniency is an institutional fiction that ignores the results of bias under Davis versus Alaska. Whether or not these specific prosecutors are assigned to his other...
Davis versus Alaska is a case that they're referencing. Got it. I'm like, who the hell is in Alaska?
Felony matter. Victim 1 remains currently detained awaiting sentencing and is unquestionably testifying with the singular hope that his cooperation here will be rewarded through institutional advocacy within the Department of Justice. The jury is constitutionally entitled to see victim 1 for what he is, a person who acted with impunity while on the streets of Los Angeles acting as an informant, and a person facing a crushing federal sentence who knows that helping the government today is his only path to freedom tomorrow. So right here, Big U is highlighting that even though Big Deal is in custody, the government still hasn't sentenced him yet because they are trying to use the Big U trial as leverage. You know, we're going to keep pushing the sentencing back. That way, Big U can't bring up the fact that you've been sentenced for these trafficking crimes. Like I said, all of these guys got the same type of cases, soliciting prostitution, trafficking, which involves minors. All of these guys involved in this type of stuff. So the government doesn't want the jury to hear that this guy was charged with trafficking minors and received a deal on that case in exchange for testifying against Big U. That's what they don't want.
Damn. So was a nigga out here trafficking yiners? And that's how you use it. Whoa. Yeah, I can understand why the jury would be like, nigga, we're not finna give him no deal. What the fuck? How we gonna give him a deal after he just got called yaffing and yiners? Like, what sense would that even make? Like, why would you want to give somebody a deal who got, like, that's, no, that doesn't make sense. You don't give somebody a deal who was yaffing and yiners. That's absolutely just despicable. That's disgusting.
The jury to know that they wanted Big U so bad that they were willing to let a child predator back on the streets in exchange for some testimony. He's also highlighting that aside from trying to cover that up, they are strategically, like he said with Molly Mall and Witness 1 and 2, they are strategically pushing these dates back. By pushing these sentencing dates back, you are keeping the witness in a certain window. Because if he gets the deal, and let's say he was expecting 20 years, but he only get 10 without testifying, he gonna just run off. Because just like Molly Mall, Big Dale doesn't have a cooperation agreement, which is why they are saying, well, the prosecutors in that case aren't the prosecutors in this case, because they're trying to make it sound like the prosecution didn't give Big Dale a deal to testify. I also want to direct your attention back to a motion that Big U filed a couple of months. Actually, I think Vay might have filed this, Robinson, but Big U joined him in it, if I'm not mistaken. It's one of those two things. Big U filed it and Vay joined, or Vay filed and Big U joined. But in any case, they both on this motion, and they are both highlighting and pointing out that Dale was involved in other stuff, and he's twisting the narrative up to get a deal. The government will point out and say, hey, this dude is not a cooperator in this case in the sense of an informant. He's actually just a victim of a crime and reported it. So they're trying to make it seem like Dale wasn't a CI or an informant that they sent in undercover. You know, that he's somebody who was just a victim that reported a crime. And again, this is all because they don't want to acknowledge that they are showing a child predator leniency, and also because they don't want to put it on paper that these guys got leniency and deals for cooperating against Big U. Just like I said a few minutes ago, all you dudes who say, if it ain't no 5K1, if it ain't no Rule 35, you can't say he a snitch. Right there, I know your knowledge on this shit
is little to non-existent, because they even have something what's called open air reporting, to where these dudes go on to the podcast and start talking loud, and then the police take notes off of that. So, yeah, it's a lot of snitchery going on.
It's limited. I know that you are not who you say you are. I know that you're not as familiar with the system as you claim you are, because this is a perfect example right here of how the government gives guys deals. And these dudes are actually witnesses. See, in the feds, they call it jumping on a case, right? So you might be in a federal holdover with a guy that you have no idea about, but he might have heard about your case, and he might decide that he want to go tell the feds that you admitted something to him, or he knows about some information that some information that could help them get a conviction on you. That's called jumping on a case, right? So a lot of guys, they get, let's say you from St. Louis and you get put in a holdover way out in Utah somewhere. You can jump on one of those guys' case and nobody will ever know. Because unless he goes to trial, you ain't going to have to testify. And if you don't testify, your name is not going to show up anywhere as a witness. The feds are not like the state. Sometimes they'll expose the snitch. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes you got guys who actually force them to put it in writing. No, I need y'all to put this in writing so I can make sure I get what I want. But a lot of times, especially since 2016, 2017-ish, the feds have been going out of their way to cover up for these guys. Witness, informant, anything like that. They trying to cover up for these guys. And this Big U situation is a perfect example of that. It's a perfect I'm not glad that he's going through this, but I'm glad that it's playing out like this, so y'all can see that they got informants out here that got no paperwork on them at all. And they testifying on federal cases.
Hey, that happens a lot of times in jail. Dudes get to talking about their cases. Dudes get to talking about their situation. They start talking too much, and another nigga go, hey, man, I heard about this, heard about that, blah, blah, blah this, blah, blah, blah that, blah, blah, wooty bam. He did this, he did that. Hey, take time off my case if I tell you about his case. It happens, fool. That's what they tell you. The first thing they say in jail is, don't talk to nobody about your case. Nobody.
Ollie Mall and Big Dale both are about to testify in a federal trial. Neither one of them has a Rule 35 or 5K1. Let that sink in. Now, if you look at the files on this situation, you will see that Big Dale Morrison, aka Monster, was actually indicted in 2021, May of 2021. If you look at recent court filings as well in that same case, you will see that actual plea negotiations were going on in August of 2025. They were actually filing continuances in the case so they could continue to negotiate plea agreements. There also seems to be some conflict between Big Dale and the prosecutors and his attorney, as his attorney just recently filed a motion to withdraw as counsel, basically saying that he and Big Dale are not seeing eye to eye. I think it's paragraph 4, section 4, where he says that there are some things in Big Dale's PSR that he doesn't like, that he wants to object to, and the government sent an email basically saying, hey, if you continue to pursue these changes, then I'm going to have to make some changes, and that could affect you in a negative way. Apparently, Big Dale has a response that he wants to send back, and the attorney doesn't feel that it's a good idea. So it sounds like Big Dale is on the ropes here anyway. He's expecting a certain type of treatment. He's not getting that treatment. I personally think that Big Dale sees something.
Damn, that nigga Big Dale's waiting for a professional rollout for his snitching. That nigga said, treat me right, nigga. I'm the Michael Jackson of this telling. Goodness gracious.
In his PSR that could aggravate, his sentencing factors, possibly put him in a higher range. And he's trying to dispute that and say it's wrong. But I believe that's a strategy that the government is using on purpose. They want to ensure that you have the highest, even though you're expecting leniency. Because that's what I think this is about. Big Deal is expecting leniency. So he's wondering, hey, why is this here? And, the government is saying, man, just be cool. We gon' fix it. But if you keep on talking about it, then I'm going to have to do something else. And I really believe that they are calculating up a high guideline range for him, higher than what he was expected, so that they can ensure that he testifies on Big U in exchange for lower guidelines, since there is no direct cooperating agreement with him to testify in exchange for a lower sentence. It's all strategy, man. It's all strategy, and the government is actually, they working a number, man. It's funny, though, because Big Deal, you get a chance to see how things go on the other side, on the snitching side. Now, here you are trying to cooperate. They saying that they didn't even put you on as an informant. You just came to them and decided to tell, even though we know what the motivation was. The report was made in July of 2021. The indictment came down in May. So you thought, damn, what can I do to get out of this? Well, here I go. So even though there is no cooperating agreement, people know why you cooperated. They know why you cooperated.
It's crazy that the lens that the government will go to keep their snitches secure and keep their snitches comfortable, but it definitely makes sense, because when it comes down to these dudes that are telling, you don't want them running off. You don't want them sliding off in the middle of an investigation, not giving a full report, not giving a full synopsis of what's going on, man. You want them dudes to do exactly what they do, tell any and everything about what's going on in these situations, and make sure that these dudes continue to be put, behind bars and all that, because that's the ultimate goal of a snitch.
But like I said, you get to see the other side. Snitches don't always get good treatment. They really don't like you. They don't like you, bro. They know what type of crimes you committed and accused of. And they only really working with you because they want to get Big U. Now they telling you, go sit in the corner and shut up and be a good boy until we done doing what we doing, until we done needing you. Otherwise, we gonna smack you upside the head too. With that said, man, I'm gonna wrap this one up. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I hope this was informative to y'all.
Right,
hit
that's
that.
my homie Byron Blake. We up out here to the next one. Y'all know the deal is right down to the left. You know the rest.
Protest the air, Smith. We on the air. Protest the air at our best. You know that, man. Off the air. You know what I'm saying? We out here, ground zero for the neighborhood hero. We got all four corners. TMC, the marathon definitely continue. Mr. Burger right here, live in the flesh. We out here, man. Trap knows. You know that, nigga.
When it's dangerous. Work all in the floorboard. Tell the ops check the scoreboard. You can't come outside when it's dangerous. And if you shoot, you ain't miss. A nigga ball like game 6. A nigga ball like game 6.
You can't come outside when it's dangerous. Gotta get the blicky when it's dangerous. Young niggas, we done came from Nathan. Thought we would stop, we just can't quit. Thought we would stop, we just can't quit. Water like us niggas up in in game 6. Missy with the bullshit, you can save it. Ballin' like us niggas up in game 6.
Game 60 bands on my neck when I got it on me. And I remember I was broke, I never let them hold me. Final seconds with my back against the wall, 81 points strong with this K, I call it Kobe. Running through this lettuce, nothing you can tell us. Gotta watch my back, I know that they get jealous. Real shit, I got rich, ain't gotta embellish. Real life made men, they call us good fellas. And I ain't got anxiety, I know it's intuition. May never love a bitch, but I for sure play my position. I know the streets talking, I'm cracking, so I ain't tripping. I said I play for keeps, but I guess them niggas ain't listening. Sick like Jordan, call it game 6. Shoot like Curry, and I can't miss. Nah, you can't come outside when it's dangerous. You niggas never outside when it's dangerous.
You can't come outside when it's dangerous. Gotta get the blicky when it's dangerous. Young niggas, we didn't get from Nathan. Thought we would stop, we just can't quit. Thought we would stop, we just can't quit. Ballin' like us niggas up in game 6. Missy with the bullshit, you can save it. Ballin' like us niggas up in game 6.
I've been winning, tell my ops check the scoreboard. Money in the attic, work all in the floorboards. Late night, that's the life that we pray for. Overtime with the pack is what we in the game for. Put myself in the game and everything is just a memory. Made a couple plays for the pain, not an enemy. Gotta watch my friends more, I gotta watch the enemies. Fake is hella fake, I know we're enemies' intentions. I let it go until it click if I'm aiming. Started staying safe and ended up staying dangerous. Game on the line, see the pressure I can take. Hall of Fame shit, so if it's mine, I'ma take. Niggas sick like Jordan, call it game 6. Niggas shoot like Curry, and I can't miss. Niggas never outside when it's dangerous. Niggas never outside when it's dangerous.
You can't come outside when it's dangerous. Gotta get the blicky when it's dangerous. Young niggas, we didn't get from Nathan. Thought we would stop, we just can't quit. Thought we would stop, we just can't quit. Ballin' like us niggas up in game 6. Missy with the bullshit, you can save it. Ballin' like us niggas up in game 6. You can't come outside when it's dangerous. Gotta get the blicky when it's dangerous. Young niggas, we didn't get from Nathan. Thought we would stop, we just can't quit. Thought we would stop, we just can't quit. Ballin' like us niggas up in game 6. Missy with the bullshit, you can save it. Ballin' like us niggas up in game 6.
Sick like Jordan, call it game 6. Shoot like Curry, and I can't miss. You niggas never outside when it's dangerous. You niggas always inside when it's dangerous. Shoot like Curry, and I can't miss. Niggas sick like Jordan, call it game 6. Niggas never outside when it's dangerous.